It's no secret that narcissists manipulate us. But can you actually do it right back to them? Yes, actually you can. That's what I'm talking about today, and we're starting right now. Firstly, you might wonder or ask yourself, is it a good idea to learn how to do this? And yes, as a matter of fact, I believe it is, and I'm not the only one. This list is called manipulation tricks, quote unquote, but it's actually more so helping you cope with a narcissist in the short term. You'll see as we go along here that this has nothing to do with winning, being right, getting revenge, getting one over on the narcissist, because when it comes to all of that, you just can't get it with a narcissist. You won't win in the normal sense. In some cases, narcissists just can't be avoided. They might be your parent, your child, your coworker, your boss. Maybe you're living with one and you just can't leave right now. It's just not in the cards. It's not possible. So again, you can call this like short-term coping skills. Truly, they need to be gone from our lives regardless of who they are because they are just too toxic. But unfortunately, it's not just always that black and white. It's not just that easy to do. So let's go over how you can manipulate a narcissist. Number 1, avoid criticizing anything. This list is again all about shutting the narcissist down, shutting down the fights, avoiding the arguments, things like that. Naturally, if you criticize someone like a narcissist, you're already dealing with somebody who can't handle their emotions well. They can't handle criticism. So very simply put, you stop doing it. It doesn't get you anywhere anyway with these people. Think about it. What really changes? You criticize an overt narcissist, for example, you'll get some narcissistic rage. Covert, on the other hand, will just be super butthurt about it, and those are the ones that are usually quite hypersensitive. But bottom line here, avoiding this also avoids a lot of fights, and overall it keeps things calmer, which is what you need in the short term as you plan your escape or look for a different job or whatever the case may be. Number 2, get quote unquote genius advice and reassurance from a quote unquote expert. I kind of lump these two together here. Really, they're the same thing. So getting really good advice from a narcissist will naturally make them think that you actually value what they have to say. So the ego boost kind of ensues. They feel kind of high and mighty. You needed advice and I gave it to you. Obviously, you don't want advice or reassurance from, a narcissist, and why would you? These are literally the last people that we should go to for good advice or expertise. Somebody who likes it when we fail. How about no? However, this again just kind of keeps things calm. If you're on their good list, hopefully you're not on their shit list, and it just kind of helps you get through the day. And these are, things to just make the mood a little bit lighter, makes them feel important. And again, maybe if they're in a good mood, they won't be in a shitty mood. Number 3, be very eager to help. And this one is a little bit more on the manipulative side. So here we go. This is where you tell the narcissist things that boost their ego, and hopefully as a result of that, you might get something you want. So with that eagerness to help, you'll say something along the lines of, wow, I see, that you're really busy. You always seem so busy. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to take care of some of this little petty bullshit for you. You're way too important to be doing that stuff. Something like that. The key to this here is, of course, that natural ego boost. But what you're actually looking for is if you're nice to them in that, kind of idea, they might offer to help you back. And in doing this, you might actually get something that you want on your end. It doesn't always work, but it is worth a shot. You might as well try and get something out of it. And even if that part doesn't work for you, you've given them a little bit of an ego boost. And again, happy, calm, not fighting. Everything's just very, very low. The fire is low on the stove. Number 4, keep negativity to yourself. Let's be honest with each other. Lying, cheating, stealing. Narcissists act out in a lot of super scummy ways. They do, act out a lot of behavior that is pretty disturbing shit. And they do this with a lack of guilt, empathy, and a lack of a lot of other things. But what's really important with this one is when you're presented with something that frankly grosses you out and disgusts you, You remain incredibly neutral. You can't be bothered one way or the other. You don't pretend to be super excited about whatever grossness it is, but you also don't get really angry or really sad or get that just grossed out, what in the, fuck you kind of look on your face. You can't lash out or text and call or, something you can't, react in. Reacting in a negative way is just that. That's the whole point here. Reacting, which is what the narcissist wants. And this is where the gray rock method or technique, however you want to say it, can come into play here, which if you're in the position where you have to deal with a narcissist, you should be learning how to execute gray rock skills like an absolute master and champion of that craft. I do have a video on gray rock. I will link it up at the top of the screen right now, right here, but it will be down in the description for you as well if you want to check out how to gray rock. But keep all that negativity to yourself. Vent it in private, vent it to other people, but never allow the narcissist that reaction. But as you learn more about gray rock, you'll see how to do that. It's very self-explanatory. Number 5, never, ever lower yourself. Same thing, this list is kind of about fluffing up the narcissist's ego, and, it's gross, but it can kind of help you cope with this person. However, what you would never want to do while you're fluffing them up and boosting them up, you never actually want to lower yourself. Don't say things like, well, I'm stupid, so I need advice, or I clearly have no idea what I'm doing, so I need you, the expert, the master, the almighty, etc., to help me. Keep your confidence up. You can actually boost their ego without making yourself seem like dirt, because you're not. It's unnecessary, and you don't need to portray that kind of a person in front of the narcissist. The whole thing with somebody who's narcissistic, it's really, really curious and interesting. They want you to be smart and competent and capable, but not too smart. Again, competent, but not too much. It's a serious fine line that I'm sure we all realize we kind of have to walk. And this dips back into the second item on my list. You can say things like, well, I know how I want to do this project and I have a good handle on it, but I just kind of want to run it past you and see what you think. And this shows that you want their opinion, so you're going to them for something, even though you don't. But you know exactly what you're doing. You don't really need help or direction or guidance. You're asking for an opinion, something like that. You should never be lowering yourself to them in any way. Ever. You will get slightly, and I use this term really loosely on top of that, you'll get slight respect from a narcissist this way, where you're not as easily intimidated. You don't insult yourself. You're not weak and beaten down. When you are low and down on yourself, you get absolutely none. You get no respect. You're a doormat, and again, you're not going to get much if you react this way, but it might make things, a little bit easier. So if you're having questions about a narcissistic relationship that you're dealing with, you can send an email to bookachatwithjess@gmail.com to ask questions and get one-on-one coaching from me. You are free to do that. Number 6, you can toss out some compliments. I know. We're trying to manipulate these people, not kiss their ass. I get it, survivor. Keep in mind though, this is a form of manipulation by way of just keeping peace in the relationship. That's the best way you can actually manipulate them. This is the best way you can win or get one over, is just kind of deal with them and maybe try to steer them in a certain direction as long as possible until you go no contact or gray rock or move out or whatever it is you have to do. This is honestly the best thing, not that this list is nothing but the best. This is just the best you can do, is kind of sort of manipulate things to keep things calm, light, mellow, easy-ish until you can get out of the situation. So again, keeping the peace, whether this be romantic or work related or friendships or family, there's a way to do, this whole thing here and getting the best results as far as compliments. The first thing about complimenting somebody, especially a narcissist, is you have to be really, really sincere about it. You actually do have to mean it when you give them a compliment. And I'm going to explain this because it needs explained. A narcissist can smell fake a mile away. Like blood in the water. You know how as soon as you text them differently, they text you back, what's wrong? What's going on? Why are you being short with me? Why are you being mean to me? Or why are you being so nice? I mean, I swear to God, they're sharks and it's blood in the water, especially the covert narcissist. If you shit on them all day and you're always fighting, But then all of a sudden you're super nice and you're complimenting. Most cerebral narcissists wonder why, because the covert cerebral, however you want to say it, narcissist has way more trust issues typically and is typically far more paranoid. And they're going to assume that you're lying, and this won't go well. So you have to try to say these things with the utmost of sincerity. Serendipitous, and you have to kind of go together like peanut butter and jelly. You can kind of do things like compare them to celebrities. They eat that shit up, or you can pretend to be super impressed by something rather mundane that they do. And it can work, just when I talked about if you offer to help, they might help you. You might get a compliment or two, not that I'd take them, very seriously, big grain of salt, but the trick might get you a compliment back. And so it can just kind of, again, lighten the mood. If you're stuck in a house, relationship, or business deal with this person, you just want things to go as easily as possible. You're just trying to get, from one day to the next with no lashing out, no drama, no big knockdown, drag out fights, no conversations that go in circles over and over again. And again, this list is just the simplest way to achieve this. Number 7, join in on the emotion. When the narcissist is sad or mad, pissed off, whatever about something, you can actually join in along with them. And this is more useful over fighting with them or telling them they have no reason to feel the way they do. Something that's just going to start a fight. You're not necessarily going to be pissed off or whatever they are. What you're just going to do here is kind of more or less agree with them. You'll say something along the lines of, I know that it's wrong that, other people don't see what you bring to the table at work. So you should really do A, B, C, X, Y, Z to really show them what you bring to the table. Or it's obvious that you're mad. I can tell because A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And I'd be mad as hell too if I were you. I totally get it. Again, this helps, especially when they're angry about something, less anger is going to be directed at you if you appear to be on their side. You can say that you agree with them, or yeah, I'd be mad too, like I totally get it, you're totally right. Just something, because if you argue and you're narcissists are kind of like, are you with me or are you against me? What's the deal here? And if you appear to be on their side, sometimes, and this isn't always, these things won't always work. Sometimes these things will never work. You kind of have to figure out which ones work best for your own situation. But normally, if someone's on your side and you're pissed about something, you're not pissed at them. You're pissed at somebody else. So, number 8, show them something they can't show themselves. This one is essentially about you showing them a little empathy. And of course, you do that in a way that just kind of brings you over to their team again, so that you're not the brunt of the anger, the rage, and things like that. What you're basically going to do is show them that you get what they're going through because you have that ability to be empathic. Now, again, you don't necessarily feel this way. This is just going to make things easier. So again, that's things like, you realize, that people at work are just too sensitive and they need to lighten up. I'm with you. Everyone's too damn sensitive. You're on their side. Again, you can believe it or not believe it or whatever. Or, obviously you're a demanding person. And you know what? Some people just can't handle that. But you're demanding because you know what's best for people. And some people should just wise up and realize what's best. It's very much so hand in hand along with the last one that we just went over. You're just kind of being empathetic and showing them things. You show empathy where they obviously can't, and they won't do that. And so these are some ways that you can cope with a narcissist and maybe get a few things, out of having to deal with them as well. If you're curious how narcissists manipulate and control you, you'll definitely want to click on the video on the screen right now and make sure you subscribe for more videos about narcissism each and every week. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.